You are with the big story here. I'm Seher Zama. The top focus that continues to be the pollution crisis. And this is why today's development is so shocking. A key meeting on pollution, which was called by the Parliamentary Standing Committee of the Urban Development, was cancelled. Why was it cancelled? Because of mass bunking. Most members of the committee did not attend. Only 4 out of the 29 MPs were present. This includes the MPs Jagdambika Pal, Hasnain Masoodi, C.R. Patil and Sanjay Singh. Among the 25 MPs who bunked the meet includes the Delhi MP from East Delhi, Gautam Gambhir, who's spoken out, tweeted out far too often on resolving this crisis. Yet he was missing in action. BJP MP from Mathura, Hema Malini, Rajya Sabha MP MJ Akbar, Kumar Ketkar, several more. Not just MPs. This meeting was also called in to have MPs and other commissioners on board. 3 commissioners of the MCD did not come. The vice chairperson of the DDA wasn't there. Secretary, Joint Secretary of the Environment Ministry also bunked this meeting. We're getting in further inputs here. Several voices that have spoken out. Many, of course, have expressed their anger against those missing in action. Our correspondent Alok getting us those inputs here. Alok, this is news that has been trending since morning. There is understandable outrage against those who were supposed to be fixing the system, and yet they were not present.
Yes, absolutely, sir. And it seems that how much it shows that how much government is serious about the solution of the pollution. And in fact, this meeting was now deferred and in fact postponed because the people who were supposed to be there at the time of the meeting, they were not there, and they were lawmakers, representatives of the parliaments. They did not come. They did not turn up for that meeting, and that was crucial meeting that was happening amid of the pollution level, when the pollution level is under severe category. Children are at home. Government is advising. Doctors are advising the children, the elderly people not to come out home. So it is completely the air emergency that is now implemented in the national capital, NCR, all over in North India. And this time, this meeting was in fact called. But the way that the meeting was in fact did not happen. It seems that the government is not at all serious, and it shows that the representatives of the parliaments they are not at all serious of this whole pollution crisis that is happening in northern India.
Yes, and we haven't gotten any clarification for all of those who've been missing in action. They haven't stated, given out a statement here. But the government, of course, has been left rather feeling ashamed about this. So they have come in with a clarification. In fact, Alok, these are breaking inputs. I'm going to be reading out that official statement. This is the central government now, which has responded on these reports that top bureaucrats of concerned ministries were missing as well, because of which the meeting had to be cancelled. So the government now says that the Joint Secretary was occupied, but the Deputy Secretary did attend the meet. This is regarding the Environment Ministry. Remember, the Secretary and the Joint Secretary were not present in the meet. So the clarification that's coming from the government here, saying that it was not an absolute missing in action. If we didn't have the Secretary and the Joint Secretary, there was the other representative from the ministry that came in. These are breaking inputs coming in, saying that the Deputy Secretary at least did attend this meeting. This was a meeting, of course, which eventually didn't happen. Our correspondent Ayushman getting us those details. Ayushman, as far as the Ministry of Environment is concerned, they're wanting to clear the air on this.
Yes, sir. If you see today's meeting, the biggest setback to the meeting was that nobody from the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change didn't appear. Ideally, the Secretary should have been there. The Secretary deputed a Joint Secretary. The Joint Secretary deputed a Deputy Secretary. So when the Deputy Secretary came, the panel member felt that at least the Joint Secretary should have been there so that the questions would have been posed to him or her. But now the clarification has come from Ministry of Environment and Forest, and they have said that the Joint Secretary who was deputed to be there in the meeting was having some important work in the court, and that is why she went there. And from the ministry, a Deputy Secretary was there. Also, the officials from CPCB were there. So this is the clarification that has been given, that the Joint Secretary was to appear in an important matter in the Supreme Court, and that is why a detailed write-up was sent to the panel, and a Deputy Secretary did attend. But the panel members have clearly said that they wanted a Joint Secretary or Secretary of Ministry of Environment to discuss the matters, to ask the questions on the condition of air quality in the national capital.
That's right. So, Ayushman, it's important to note here, to put this in perspective, just because there was the Deputy Secretary there in the meeting doesn't mean that it was right for the Secretary or the Joint Secretary to be missing this. This was a crucial meeting, and it was a requirement that an officer of a certain seniority to be taking those questions and queries be present there.
Exactly, sir. That is what is the main point. Because we have seen documents, 20 questions were lined up. They were prepared by the parliamentary panel, and they were to be posed. And it required a detailed analysis of the current situation, the spending, the expenditure, the kind of arrangement, and the situation regarding Supreme Court, regarding stubble burning, regarding bus management. All these questions were to be asked, and that is why the panel members felt that it was not correct on the part of the Joint Secretary or the Secretary to give the meeting a miss, and that is why they clearly waited for about half an hour, and then they said that this meeting can't take place because a senior official is not present. At the same time, the DDA vice commissioners and commissioners, they were also not present. So clearly the bureaucracy which was there to implement the schemes, who were to be questioned on the kind of effort or step that has been taken, they were not there.
Right.
So that led to the cancellation of this meeting, sir.
Absolutely. Ayushman, thanks for those details. There is another development here that has taken place, and this is in the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court, in its hearing here, wrapped the Delhi government, taking up a petition which was questioning the Delhi government's odd-even scheme. It was questioning whether this is good enough or not. So this is what the top court has observed today, saying that it seems farcical. The very strong words that have come in from the apex court, saying that the Delhi government should either not exempt any vehicles or not follow the scheme at all. Top court has now summoned the Secretary of Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh and Delhi. Remember, this is all from the Delhi and neighbouring states' governments. The court saying that states have failed to take these effective steps to curb pollution. We have with us our Deputy News Editor, Meenakshi Bhanja, getting us those inputs. Meenakshi, these are two crucial updates coming in from the Supreme Court itself. And as far as Delhi is concerned, more importantly, the validity, the usefulness of the odd-even scheme now being questioned.
Well, absolutely, sir, and also a clear indication that till the Supreme Court gets cracking, very few things actually get done on ground, and that is the reason even this miss of top officials at this crucial meeting happened. And this is all happening when the PMO itself is invested into the issue of curbing air pollution in the national capital. So, like you rightly mentioned, today was the turn of the odd-even scheme to come up for scrutiny, and the Supreme Court posed a bunch of questions. It asked the Delhi government as to why is the scheme not introduced a little earlier in the year, say for instance ahead of October, November, so that the beneficial effects of the scheme, if any, can be assessed and studied better, because during the time of October, November, as it is, the pollution levels have spiked up so much because of contributory factors like stubble burning. So yes, indeed, there was a moment in the hearing when Honorable Justice Deepak Gupta was of the opinion as to how odd even seems like a farce with all the exemption clauses that it has. The Supreme Court also went on to add, Seher, as to how the government of Delhi should really ponder over with all seriousness that if required, there should be no exemptions for two-wheelers during the implementation of odd even. So various facets were discussed again in the hearing today, And interestingly, for our viewers, there was another aspect which came up. Remember the last time when all the chief secretaries of neighboring states were getting slammed like schoolboys, there was one aspect of how stubble burning in Punjab is at a high, while stubble burning in Haryana is limited to 4 districts. Now today, that has shifted. The latest satellite imagery apparently shows that stubble burning in Punjab is on the decline, whereas in UP and Haryana, it is on the rise. So clearly, pollution and air pollution is not #1 priority for a lot of governments. Say, for instance, as any other natural calamity like a earthquake, flood, or even torrential rainfall would be something which the governments would be tackling at an emergency footing. There's a rather lackadaisical approach when it comes to tackling issue of air pollution, because there is this mindset there that chalta hai attitude, that when the winds will blow, pollution itself will decline. Until then, whatever is happening, let's put up with it. So the Supreme Court is very cognizant of the issue. It feels that the spike in air pollution is so serious that it is coming in the way of people's breathing, and it is taking away lifespans there from a person's normal life duration.
That's right. Meenakshi, many thanks. And we're getting in further inputs here as well. This is, of course, with respect to those MPs who were missing in action in that crucial meeting today. So the Aam Aadmi Party now has found this chance to slam one of those missing in action, that being the BJP MP, former cricketer Gautam Gambhir, who was not present. He was, in fact, spotted eating jalebis, sharing this photograph here in Indore, where the India-Bangladesh are playing their test match, and he's there for a commitment to cricket commentary. Let's get in more details here on this. We have Avni with those inputs. Avni, Gautam Gambhir is someone who's been very vocal about several issues that aren't going right in Delhi. He's a first-time MP in Delhi. He's been very quick to respond, react on Twitter, but we've not seen anything from him regarding this so far.
Yes, absolutely. And this is not the first time that Gautam Gambhir has been embroiled in controversy, but this one really sticks out like a sore thumb, because we do know the issue that is going on in NCR, National Capital Region, in Delhi, and even in North India, the pollution emergency that is going on to the extent where schools have to be shut down, like we've been focusing on for several days. And the fact that this kind of a key meeting on pollution, which should have been given the topmost priority, was completely dissed, and people just bunked it. And Gautam Gambhir then retweets this particular picture of all of them eating jalebis, sort of really mocks the common man, mocks the people who are suffering in Delhi, who are suffering and have to live in that toxic pollution and watch their children grow up and breathe that toxic air. So these pictures really sort of, would upset anyone who's there seeing that and who's living there and has to go through this. And the fact that Gautam Gambhir completely skipped that meeting and was busy eating jalebis elsewhere.
That's right. Avni, thanks for getting us those inputs. There is understandable disappointment there. Remember, it was not just Gautam Gambhir. There were about 25 MPs, but he's the one particularly who's singled out for this, because he's been most vocal on Twitter. He's been most vocal about expressing his view as far as the workings in Delhi is concerned, and slamming the Delhi government for not doing enough. And here he is missing in action. This is a commitment to cricket commentary for the ongoing test between India and Bangladesh, which he himself has chosen to give out as a priority instead of being present for this meeting today. Well, talking about that clarification, he has now spoken out. Let's in fact read out that statement that's coming from Gautam Gambhir. This is a day after being slammed and trolled on Twitter. The East Delhi MP Gautam Gambhir has released this statement. Here's how he's explained it, saying that AAP, the Aam Aadmi Party, is politicizing this issue, that he should only be judged by the work he's done in his constituency. His statement there speaks about how he has commercial engagements and a family to support. Avni, if you could take us through more details here of this statement. He has singled out as a justification, commercial engagements and family to support. Why did he then stand for politics?
Yes, absolutely, Seher, and that is the big question. This is, a lengthy clarification and justification, or attempt at a justification coming in from Gautam Gambhir. And I just want to read out, some of the crucial parts. He's saying my commitment to my constituency and my city should be judged by the work that is happening here. And then he goes on to explain some of the things that he has done, which includes getting high-end compost machines installed for clearing Ghazipur landfill, to reforming EMDC schools, installing sanitary pad vending machines for the benefit of women, providing free food. Says, I have left no stone unturned in the last 6 months to making sure that people who voted for me get the best. And then he says that this is not even 1% of what I intend to do for the next 4.5 years. He's also going on then to say, I sit in my constituency office in East Delhi from 11 a.m. and leave only when all the people who had come there are assured that their grievances have been addressed. Says that I've pledged my salary as an MP as well. And then about other issues that he's going to address. But he then, this is the part that you were talking about, Sahir. He says, I have not entered politics to make money, but I do have a family to support. Making my commercial engagements an issue to mask the incompetence and political greed of their leader is the saddest thing that the party, which claims to represent honest people, could do. But I have complete faith in the people of my constituency that they will judge me by my work. So, Sahir, essentially, this is what his justification is. And as we have been seeing from the beginning, as far as the pollution issue is concerned, there has just been so much politics at play, politicizing this entire issue that has been happening with no regard for the kind of problems that the people in Delhi and the surrounding areas are actually going through, Sahel.
That's right. We'll have to wait and see a few reactions that have come in with respect to his statement, whether people are actually buying his argument here. But as you said, Avni, this has been a politicization. And here's a statement that's coming from AAP. Saurabh Bhardwaj has spoken on Gautam Gambhir's absence here. Let's take a listen.
आपको ये जान के हैरानी होगी कि इस पार्लियामेंट्री कमेटी में 28 मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट्स हैं जो इसके मेंबर हैं, उनमें से मात्र 4 मेंबर इसके अंदर आए थे। अधिकतर मेंबर बीजेपी के मेंबर्स हैं जो इससे गायब रहे। और सबसे बड़ी बात है, जो हमारे सबसे बड़े क्रूसेडर कहलाते हैं, जो बड़ी बड़ी बातें ट्विटर पे करते हैं, हमारे ईस्ट दिल्ली के सांसद गौतम गंभीर भी इस मीटिंग से नदारद रहे। मुझे लगता है कि मीटिंग में आना उनका बहुत बड़ा जो है उनके लिए काम होता है। मेरा मानना ये है कि इस तरीके की लापरवाही साफ दिखाता है कि इनको दिल्ली के पोल्यूशन से और दिल्ली वालों की सेहत से कोई लेना देना नहीं।
Let's get in more voices. We have Mr. Harish Khurana of the BJP here with us. Mr. Khurana, thank you for being with us. Can we expect your party to be explaining why so many of your MPs here were missing in action from today's meeting?
See, what kind of explanation what is required from what media is asking right now? The basic question today is what action the government has taken. We are asking who is directly responsible for Delhi pollution is. I think Delhi government. What action? And we are asking what action since last 5 years the Delhi government has taken action on pollution. Instead of replying it,
no, but then Mr. Khurana, are you saying that having this meeting was futile? So it makes no difference that it was cancelled today?
See, we should understand
because there were top officers from the MCD, from the DDA and from the ministry who were not present, from the concerned Central Environment Ministry.
Listen, if you're specifically asking me about Gautam Gambhir, what Saurabh Bhardwaj was alleging in, we should understand the meeting was called on 15th.
No, I'm not. I'm not talking about a political allegation here, Mr. Khurana. Only want you to speak on the behalf of your party and wanting to understand why so many. There were 25 MPs missing in action. Of course, most of them here being from the BJP.
Unfortunately, we should understand, unfortunately, when the timing of the meeting was called, half of the MPs were not in town. This was very unfortunate. But the under secretary from central government was there in the meeting, who is responsible for coordinating of everything. He was there, and other people were also there, who officers were there.
Mr. Khurana, this was a meeting at a very high level.
Listen,
that is what the others have expressed, that if the Environment Ministry could not send their secretary, the next representative, the Joint Secretary, also did not come. these questions and decisions to be taken in this meeting today could not have been done by the Deputy Secretary.
My only commission is, listen to me, what I'm trying to say that. My only point is, whether this meeting has been called or not, that's immaterial. Right now, people are asking what action the government has taken now. Whatever the meeting has been done today, action will be taken in the next few days. We are talking about, we are living in a gas chamber since years now. What government has taken action? We want to know that. Today,
so, Mr. Harish Khurana, you are once again in your argument indicating that this meeting was not important.
No, I'm not saying that.
Even if it did cause an action to be taken in the next few days, it doesn't matter that it got cancelled today.
What I'm trying to say that only odd even your solution. I'm asking from the concerned people. You're allocating the BJP MPs are not gone. Okay, fine, they have not gone. What action since last 5 years this Delhi government has taken? We are asking those questions. There is no reply of that. Instead of giving
Mr. Khurana, we are asking questions on what action the central government has taken, what action the Environment Ministry needs to take on an urgent basis, and today's meeting, if had taken place, could have concluded on some of those lines.
See, we should understand the basic problems are. We are not understanding what the basic problem is. We are only allocating small burning is the only cause of. I'm stating since last few months. This is not the only case.
Mr. Harish Khurana, I did not talk about odd even. I did not talk about stubble burning. This is preconceived notion that I'm asking questions along these lines. I am only asking why didn't the MPs take this meeting seriously enough?
It's not about seriousness. Today morning they have called. Unfortunately, 70-80% of the MPs were not in town. They were not in town. It was an urgent meeting, emergency meeting. That's the only case. But why are you politicizing the issues?
No, but then what is the point in having a parliamentary standing committee meeting not being taken seriously? That's what I'm asking you. You are belittling the status of this committee. You are belittling the purpose of this meeting.
No, I'm asking a small question to you guys. If your management calls a meeting in Delhi on a 2 hours notice, sometimes you might not be able to reach. Then what? That doesn't mean you're not serious. You're serious. That doesn't mean the MPs are not serious. Unfortunately, they are not able to reach on time. That's the only thing is. That's the only answer. But what kind of politicization has been done by Aam Aadmi Party? And by whom? Aam Aadmi Party is politicizing this. Since last 5 years, they've done nothing on this.
Aam Aadmi Party here. What is this helplessness that you have a parliamentary standing committee meeting to take place and MPs cannot reach in time, or it has not been communicated well enough? Then what's the purpose? What is the purpose of calling this meeting? Once again, you're headed in the same direction and calling this meeting futile. You don't believe in the purpose of this meeting. You don't think it's a big loss that this meeting has not taken place.
What I'm trying to understand, we try to understand, or you're not trying to understand one thing. If this meeting has been called on an urgent basis, some of the MPs have not been able to reach. What's the fault in that? They are not serious? I think they are serious.
Hey, this is a meeting on an urgent basis because we're looking at a crisis. An urgency for a crisis.
My only submission is
take it seriously enough, then you'll understand what a loss it is that this meeting has not happened. Mr. Harish Khurana, thank you for speaking with us. I'm afraid we'll have to move away from other breaking inputs here coming in. In other news, Times Network having confronted the All India MIM MP Imtiaz Jaleel, who skipped the important parliamentary panel meeting on pollution. I beg your pardon, this is on the same issue. We are bit by bit naming down those MPs who missed the meeting today and wanting to understand why they skipped this meeting. So he has been questioned, his excuse here being that he was in Aurangabad. There were other important meetings lined up. Even more glaring here that he says the pollution meeting was only on Delhi, and since his city is not going to be discussed, his presence would have been irrelevant. This is yet another indicator here that even parliamentarians do not understand the importance of this meeting. Let's take a listen in.
We had attended the meeting last time, and it was decided in that meeting only Okay.
that this meeting would be specifically for Delhi.
Acha.
Since there is this session is going to start,
Ji.
and from Sunday onwards we'll be in Delhi.
Okay.
So we had numerous meetings lined up.
Okay.
So I had my meetings lined up in Aurangabad.
Okay.
Because for the next month, 1 month we'll be in Delhi only.
Okay. Okay.
If it had been a general discussion
Ji.
on pollution across the country, because even my city is facing problem.
Okay.
But if I had come there and they would not have discussed about the pollution levels in my city,
Okay.
it would have been served no purpose.
Okay.
So if it was a meeting that would have been for everyone, then definitely we would have attended the same.
Okay.
But since it was focusing only on Delhi.
Well, yet another reaction here that indicates that even MPs do not take a meeting which is of the Parliamentary Standing Committee. Even MPs do not respect the status and purpose of such a meeting. With that, it is a wrap on the show. Appreciate all the voices who've spoken to us here on this.